must have something going for them to come in there and talk like that to them. They believe the Knicks might be waiting. I approached the Knicks about it. They said, hey, it'd be very difficult for them to bring in Bernard, although he's got a great relationship with Ernie Grunfeld. Dr. Scott is his doctor, operated on his knee twice. And, you know, he said, hey, we can't get enough shots for Blackman and Charles Smith at this point. How could Bernard be satisfied here? So who knows? We'll find out if they waive him.
In Dallas, mercifully, they let Richie Adubato go. I mean, really a nice guy, but do nice guys always finish last in this league?
Well, if I were Jesse Jackson, you brought up his name, you know, he wants blacks as head coaches. I'd complain about where they're sticking these interim black coaches. I mean, they're
not getting a chance.
No,
right?
they're putting them in positions where they have to fail. I mean, Gar Hurd is now in there. There is no way they're going to hire Gar Hurd as the head
and why
coach.
Is that?
Well, they don't have the confidence in him. He's there as an interim, and they're going to start looking around. I do know that my buddy on NBC is one of the guys they're going to go after, Mr. Buckner.
Quinn Buckner.
That's right.
Do you think he's qualified?
I think Quinn could do the job, but I think Quinn actually wants to be a general manager, so Rick's son better watch it. Because he could be the next to go. And I do know that if Quinn does come in as a GM somewhere, he's told Dennis Johnson he'll take him with him.
What do you make of all the double talk from Norm Sanju about his reasoning for firing Adubato? I've listened to it twice now, and I still don't understand what the heck he's talking about.
Never really understood Norm Sanju. You know, the thing with Adubato is he actually definitely wanted to know about his future. They would not commit to him, and they felt it was wrong to keep him around in a losing situation. He was putting pressure on management to trade Jim Jackson and get a couple wins this year. They're not prepared to do that unless they get equal value or very near equal value.
In Minnesota,
these young players, first of all, they like him very much, which really helps. And by the way, they respected Richie too. Please understand, this is the hardest working, finest basketball person you'd ever want to be associated with. But to me, the direction really needed to be just to spend all your time developing these young kids right now for the future, because we aren't going to win a whole lot of games this year, Jen. You know that, and I know that. And Gar, I think his whole emphasis right now is going to just instill confidence in some of our young kids, a Randy White, a Doug Smith, and the young guys we've drafted.
Norm, was the replacement of Richie a last resort type move in view of the talent that you have?
You know, the sad thing is this, is that we didn't do this before the season. And I mean this in the bottom of my heart, because Richie does not deserve these losses. This is a good coach. Remember, when we brought him in to be head coach, he was an assistant coach, as you know, and he took over as head coach when John McLeod was let go. And we won 46 or 7 games that year and went to the playoffs. Then everything went wrong. I mean, we had 199 injuries of our starters the next year and 240 out of our 8-man rotation the next year. You can't compete at this level. That's not Richie's fault at all. So he's never really played on a level field. And so I don't think it as a last resort. I do think those circumstances have changed so dramatically and that it made sense for us to look long-term. What are we really looking for long-term? That's the whole key. We're looking for a leader, probably a former player, one who's been in the trenches, who understands what it is to win at every level. And could Richie have done that? Absolutely. But in our opinion, it just made sense to make a change at this time.
Norm, the rumor now is that Quinn Buckner is the man that you want. Is there anything to that?
Well, let me just say it this way. We want a leader. We want a man who's won at different levels. And this is a guy who won state championship twice in high school. He was a 3-time captain under Bobby Knight. You figured that one out. I mean, that's, you know, Bobby's a great coach, but he's kind of a leader himself. And to have a man that strong to be a leader as a sophomore, junior, and senior at Indiana, that's quite a story. Won a gold medal, as you know, for the United States in '76, and of course, a championship in Boston. And I think he's a man's man. That's what we're looking for. Someone that can instill confidence in these young kids, someone that they can look up to and just take us to that next level. Certainly a candidate you want to think about.
Norm, the #1 draft pick of this franchise, a haunting memory for you thus far. Jimmy Jackson said he will not play here. Is that a closed issue from your standpoint?
If you want me to cry in the air, keep asking these questions about Jim Jackson. John, it breaks my heart. We drafted him to play here. We didn't draft him to trade. We drafted him to play here. I was salivating when we made that pick. I think this young man is going to be a great basketball player. Absolutely no is it a closed door from our point of view. Forever's a long time, and he said he would not play with us ever. That's a pretty long time. From our point of view, we respect it. I understand his frustration, but if I could just somehow get Mr. Carter and his agent and he and his family together over a cup of coffee and sit down, I'm convinced we could work things out. So far, we respect the fact that they do not want to talk, and we kept away from them. But I'll be honest, John, I don't like these 30, 40, 50, 60 cent offers that we're getting from players, the 9th, 10th, 11th players on teams, maybe one quasi-decent player. That's not what we have in mind to build this franchise into the next 3-4 years. And you understand, as a basketball man, and we want him here. And so we're going to keep the door wide open from our point of view and not do anything or even hint anything negatively, because this is a quality young man. But if you want me to cry, keep talking about it.
Okay, we'll leave it at that, Norm. Norm Sanju, thank you very much for spending the time with us. And obviously, there's a lot of energy from your end, and hopefully things will change for the Mavs soon.
Well, thanks so much. Always good seeing you.
Thank you. Now let's go back to Mike Crispino.
Didn't look like Norm Sanju was ready to cry at all, with Jimmy Jackson sitting there not wanting to play for the Dallas Mavericks. Well, coming up next on Knicks game night, the Celtics and the Magic at Boston Garden. Those highlights, Philadelphia visiting the Nets, and a match report.
Mavericks. He is at or near the top of virtually every offensive category for Dallas. Blackman led the Mavericks through some highly successful years, including 2 50-win seasons and a trip to the Western Conference Finals in 1988. Last year, while Blackman continued to supply his share of offense, the Dallas franchise became mired in futility. For Rolando Blackman, the time had come to depart from Dallas. Blackman has obviously been thrilled to be in his new surroundings, escaping the 2-28 Mavericks for a team with much loftier aspirations. But tonight, he returns to Reunion Arena, the site of much of his former glory. Welcome to the Reunion Arena, Dallas, Texas, where the Mavericks have fallen on hard times. Knicks and Mavs getting ready to meet for the first time this season. Now check out these numbers. It has been a dismal season for Dallas at 2-28. They are on pace with the Philadelphia 76ers of the 72-73 season, when the Sixers set the NBA record for fewest wins, only 9, while the Knicks at 20-13 are now only a game and a half in front of the Nets and 2.5 over Boston. Hi, everybody. Marv Albert along with John Andres, and these have certainly been difficult times for the New York Knicks. They have dropped 3 of the last 4. They've lost 6 out of the last 10, and they come off the loss in Denver on Wednesday, a game that saw them shoot a horrendous 34%. And, John, the Knicks shooting 45% from the field for the season. Only Dallas at 42% has shot worse than the Knicks.
Well, this is a problem that the Knicks have to solve. They have to change it, and tonight's the night for the Knicks to do it against this team. The other night in Denver, Marv, it was really a team effort, particularly when you look at the first 5, what the Knicks shot as individuals, as members of the first 5. It was incredible, really. Patrick Ewing leading the way with 9 for 28. Rolando Blackman, a man who's gone through his career known as an outstanding shooter, only 4 for 17. Charles Smith's time was limited to 20 minutes, undoubtedly due to 2 for 9. He was not in foul trouble. So the starters averaged 29% from the field, which is terrible shooting for an NBA team. Tonight, however, you've heard of the music group The Cure, Marv? The Dallas Mavericks, hopefully for the Knicks, will be The Cure tonight.
Amazing how you can weave the contemporary sounds in. For the Dallas Mavericks, it really cannot get any worse. They are 2-28. They've lost 13 in a row. Richie Adubato fired as the head coach the other day. Garfield Hearn, an assistant, takes over. So you'd have to say, John, right here, you look at this roster, the immediate future on the bleak side.
Yes, the Mavericks are down, and there's no sign of them coming up until they get a host of new players. They're starting with a new coach, and that really isn't going to make a lot of difference. The players have to do it. They are hurting in just about every meaningful category, not only their record, the points allowed, the field goal percentage, the opposing team's field goal percentage at 51%. Everything is last for them in NBA categories. is, I would think the only thing Pat Riley can do is remind his Knicks team that this Dallas team lost to the NBA leading Phoenix Suns here by 4 points a week ago. That put a little scare into Charles Barkley and friends, and hopefully for Pat Riley, that might be his answer to keep his team up tonight. There are no excuses for playing poorly against the Mavericks.
That could be reaching for motivation, but coming off what took place in Denver, that is certainly understandable. It will be the return to Dallas for Rolando Blackman, and he'll be hearing it from the crowd right throughout. We'll be right back. We'll join with the public address.
Introducing the entire lineup for the visiting Knicks. A guard in his 4th season from Oklahoma State, number 3, John Starks. A 9th-year guard forward from Ohio State, number 9, Tony Campbell. A 4th-year forward from Tennessee State, number 14, Anthony Mason. A guard in his 10th season from Marquette, number 25, Doc Rivers. A center forward in his 12th season from Ohio State, number 32, Herb Williams. A rookie forward from Indiana, number 42, Eric Anderson. A rookie guard from North Carolina, number 44, Hubert Davis. The starting lineup for New York at forward in his 8th season from Virginia Union, number 34, Charles Oakley. At forward in his 5th season from Pittsburgh, number 54, Charles Smith. At center in his 8th season from Georgetown, number 33, Patrick Ewing. At guard in his 12th season from Kansas State, number 20, Rolando Blackman. And a guard in his 2nd season from UNLV, number 50, Greg Anthony. Head coach of the Knicks, Pat Riley, his assistants Dick Harder and Jeff Van Gundy, the trainers Mike Saunders and Tim Walsh. Tonight's honorary ball boy in his 5th year at Spring Ridge Middle School is Casey Wells. And now, introducing the starting lineup for your Dallas Mavericks. And forward in his 2nd season from Missouri, number 34, Doug Smith. And forward in his 4th season from Virginia Union, number 43, Terry Davis. At center, a rookie from Arizona, number 45, Sean Rooks. At guard, a rookie from Minnesota, number 40, Walter Bond. And a guard in his 10th season from Illinois, number 12, the captain, Derek Harper. The interim head coach of the Mavericks, Gar Hurd, his assistant, Bob Zappalato, the trainer, Doug Atkinson. Tonight's officials are Hugh Hollins, Ted Bernhardt, and Hank Armstrong. And the National Basketball Association has requested that the interest of good sportsmen...
So a nice reception for the one-time Dallas Maverick, Rolando Blackman. He played here 11 years. He is the Mavericks' all-time leading scorer.
We also like to remind you that smoking in class...
16,643 points as a member of the Mavericks. Mr. Maverick himself, Rolando Blackman, who said that coming back here is not emotional. Pat Riley had made the point that it's only natural that there are a lot of memories here for Rolando, and Pat was hoping that Rolando get all pumped up in the manner that Mark Jackson did against the Knicks and then go out and play a great game, but it does not seem to be Rolando's personality, and he said it won't be nostalgia. He said it's nice to get back to his former house in Dallas, which he still owns. Have a chance to sleep in his old bed for a couple of nights.
He doesn't allow himself to be distracted by circumstances surrounding him. He just wants to do a job and do it better than it has been working out for him.
The officials, Hugh Hollins, Ted Bernhardt, and Hank Armstrong, and the Knicks control the opening tip. Greg Anthony being guarded by Derek Harper, who was a question mark because of a sprained hamstring, and Blackman gets right to it. Derek Harper, Rolando Blackman's one-time partner in the backcourt, is forcing himself, really pushing himself to play tonight, actually, in respect to Rolando. Here's Smith, and it's rebounded by Oakley, who fires one high and far, and the ball goes back to Dallas.
Well, that was headed, and it achieved its goal of Dick Harder. I assume Charles wanted to make a point to Dick Harder, the Knicks assistant coach, because he hit him.
This is Terry Davis working off the pick. And Oakley with the steal. Anthony slicing through, and he's fouled. Foul committed by Walter Bond. Now, unless you're one of those who likes to tune up the Dallas Mavericks on the dish, and I don't think that you are in the majority, I would think that you are seeing some players for the very first time. John, speaking only for myself, since my days of doing some college basketball telecast over at NBC, I can't recall coming into a game where I had not seen so many players play before tonight.
Well, it just shows you, Marv, you're out of it as far as the CBA is concerned. That's where many of them come from.
Eric Hoffer with a 3, but we have people such as Walter Bond, rookie who was in the starting lineup from the University of Minnesota. Dexter Cambridge, a rookie from Texas who was signed as a free agent. Charles Oakley. And the Knicks lead by the score of 7-3. Tracy Moore of Tulsa, we did see last year. He was leading the CBA in scoring when he signed with Dallas. And then we have the 27-year-old Anthony called for the foul. A native of Serbia, Radoslav Čurčić. Now, I know you followed his career closely.
Whoops, there he is.
Yes. They say he plays a lot like Jeff Ruland, and there is a Jeff Ruland look about Radoslav Čurčić.
Make him laugh, Marv. He's a tough-looking guy, and he looks kind of regular sitting there, but when he takes that jacket off, stands up and spreads out, there's a lot of man there.
6'10", 275, spent last year in the Italian Pro League and averaged 20 points a game, but has not received much playing time here in the NBA. It's the Knicks 7 and the Mavericks 5. Smith, yes. Knicks lead 9-5 with a minute and a half gone by in this first quarter.
Rolando Blackman helped with a pick to get Charles Smith loose. He's another one of the Knicks shooters who has to come out of his shell and start shooting the ball better. Only 43% for the season now for Charles.
And again, the pass from Smith picked off. Blackman putting the moves on Bond and scores. Rolando Blackman extends to an 11-5 Knick advantage.
Rolando looking loose, is in the offense right away. Hit that opening shot, and you know he's feeling very good at this point.
Timeout called by Garfield Hurd. We'll be back in a moment. Now, it's called on Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley and Terry Davis, who are close off the court, both attending Virginia Union. Terry Davis, after a couple of years with Miami, signed with Dallas as an unrestricted free agent. And did a nice job last year, averaging 10 points, just under 10 rebounds, among the NBA leaders in rebounding, although it's tough to make a judgment on a player when a club wins 22 and loses 60, as Dallas did last season.
Terry Davis, as Charles Oakley is his hero. And Terry's fine play in the early part of the season was rewarded with a 3-year deal this past December. So things are looking up for Terry Davis. He's worked into this franchise quite well.
Blackman coming off the screen, gets it back out to Anthony. Charles Smith guarded by Doug Smith. And Ewing finds Oakley down low. He's fouled by Davis.
It's not every time that when a big man gets position, he gets the ball. In that case, Oakley had the great position on Davis, and Patrick Ewing from the foul line saw him and delivered the ball right to him. And it was a good move by Oakley, drawing that foul right up, no hesitation.
So Charles with his 3rd point. It's the Knicks 12 and the Mavericks 5. The last victory by Dallas was back on the 16th of December against the Los Angeles Lakers here at Reunion Arena. Both wins coming at home. They're 0-14 on the road. That snapped a 12-game losing streak. The other win in mid-November, 4th game of the season. They beat the Atlanta Hawks. Hoffer's shot will count, and the foul. Now, Apparently illegal defense was being called, but Hank Armstrong said, yes, that will be a warning on the Knicks, but the field goal by Harper will count.
Pat Riley objecting exactly to that, saying that the whistle blew before the shot. But he does not get the benefit of what appeared obvious to him.
The Knicks will put it in play. They are up by the score of 12-7. The Knicks with the starting unit on the floor. Backcourt of Anthony and Blackman. Up front, Ewing, Oakley, and Smith. Charles Smith to the crossover, and he was hacked by Doug Smith. Doug Smith in his second year out of Missouri, and he has been a major disappointment. #1 draft pick last year, 6th selection overall. And back in the starting lineup, Garfield Hurd, in his second game since taking over from Richie Adubato, has done some shuffling with the lineup.
Doug Smith is one of the reasons given in the papers to read about the firing of Rich Adubato, because the management here wanted him to play 30 minutes a game. That was the rule they set down. I spoke to Rich Adubato today about that, and he said, I tried to play him 20 minutes a game, 30 minutes a game, but he would get in foul trouble, and I'd have to take him out. Then I couldn't put him in for the whole second half, let's say, to even 30. I looked over the last 6 games. Doug Smith's been playing less than half a game and averaging 5 fouls a game over the last 6 games, supporting Adubato's difficulty in that subject.
Now Ewing, double team, gets it out to Anthony. And it's knocked out of bounds by Doug Smith. So it will be Nick Ball.
The other problem with Big Doug is that his shooting percentage is so low. He has already missed a number of jumpers tonight.
And the ball goes back to Dallas. It's Doug Smith at 43% from the field. He's averaging 11 points per game. Davis. This is Bond. Walter Bond played for Wichita Falls in the CBA last season.
Walter Bond lives to drive the ball to the basket. One of the points Rich Adubato made to him was that in the CBA, when you beat your man, there's no one there to stop you. But in the NBA, it's a different story. You got a Ewing or a Mourning, and the Bond hasn't quite gotten that message. He's been rejected several times in prior games.
Patrick Ewing called for the foul on Sean Rooks. He was going for the block of Rooks. Sean Rooks, the starting center for the Mavericks, second-round draft pick out of Arizona. Arizona Wildcats' 5th all-time leading scorer. Sean Rooks comes off a 1-for-8 performance in the Mavericks' last game Wednesday night in Detroit. Mavericks losing to the Pistons 112-96.
Rooks is known by Dallas lovers here as the big surprise of the year. A second-round pick who's become a starter, and he's also earned himself a 3-year contract. Most unusual for a second-round pick.
Ewing tried to get it inside, and it was broken up. Knicks have 10 on the 24. The Knicks 14, and the Mavericks 10. For the Knicks, it is game 3 of the 4-game road trip that concludes tomorrow night against the Rockets in Houston. Anthony, and here comes Harper, putting the move on Blackman, and he drew the foul. Derek Harper going 1-on-2, and he was fouled by Rolando Blackman.
His first to 4th team foul.
Well, at the other end, Greg Anthony decided to go one-on-one. One started on the left side, then went over to the right side. 2 men chasing him, as you can see in the replay, and then goes up for the shot, going away from his shooting, natural shooting hand, which is left. A very difficult play, not the kind of play that's going to get this team meshing on offense.
Derek Harper, a 73% free throw shooter. Just under 20 points per game. He leads Dallas in scoring. Last year for Derek, an injury-hit season, sprained right wrist, missed 17 games. In his 10th year out of Illinois.
Derek continues to shoot the three-point shot. Made 43 this season, shooting at a 42% clip. He had 5 in one game recently, 5 out of 6.
Knicks lead by 2. 5 minutes gone by. Ewing again drawing the double team. Good fake by Charles Smith. Here's Smith, fouled by Rooks.
Charles getting second shot attempts tonight after that beautiful fake. He was wide open, missed the shot, but ended up back in the play again and was determined to dunk the ball. Fortunately, he was fouled.
So unusual when a coach is let go that he will show up at the next game, but there he is, Richie Adubato, on hand with his wife Carol, checking out the action here at the Reunion Arena.
That's classy, and that's Rich Adubato. The feeling, however, for him personally could not be higher by Dallas Mavericks ownership. They have taken care of him financially quite well, and speak nothing but excellent things about Rich.
All right, here's Davis getting inside. Knicks lead by the score of 16-12. 6.5 remaining first quarter. Check that. 16-14 is the score. Oakley. Here's Bond for Smith. And the game is tied at 16. Ewing. Davis with the box out.
This very supportive crowd is getting into it now.
Nice pass. Rooks clobbered by Smith. So Sean Rooks will go to the line. Charles Smith called for his first.
15 fouls. The Mavericks.
Knicks to this point have hit 5 out of 12 from the field. Knicks the other night against Denver, 34%. And John, they have shot 50% only once the last 17 games. That was 12 games back when they knocked off the Celtics up in Boston. The offense has been lackluster.
Which is a reflection of ball movement and shot selection and leadership also in the backcourt. The backcourt has to get things going, has to make the right decisions, and that's what has not been happening at a high enough level.
Incredibly, the Knicks have shot 50% only 5 times this season over the first 33 games. And the Knicks are trailing the Mavericks 18-16. Last touch by Dallas. And a substitution for the Mavericks, Donald Hodge. Second round pick last year out of Temple, replacing Sean Rooks. Rooks leads with 3 points. Knicks have the new 24. Ewing now played by Hodge. Anthony returning to Ewing, and it's a traveling violation. You know, Pat Riley upset about what he saw the other night against the Nuggets in Denver. We're not seeing much better here against the Dallas Mavericks in the first quarter. Pat very upset with the club, ran one of his overly strenuous practices yesterday. Players say that, well, they have about 2 or 3 of those per year. That was the case last season. So you would feel that they would come out on fire, but that has not been the case. But it is very early.
Undoubtedly, Pat Riley will go to the hot shooting of John Starks shortly. John has been doing just that lately, but they do need a lift.
Pass for Bond could not be handled. Bond saying it was his fault, and no one disagreed.
Knicks making an attempt to share the ball. They are passing it around.
Blackman not able to hit. And Hopper rebounds. Derek going behind the back, showing mobility despite the hamstring and groin pull, but then Dallas turns it over, so the Knicks get it back. Mavericks 18 and the Knicks 16 with 4.5 remaining. In this first quarter, Marv Albert, John Andres from the Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas.
On that pick and roll, Anthony could not get the ball to Ewing, who was wide open as he moved to the basket.
Hodge wants help.
In fact, he didn't even look in Ewing's direction.
Now Bond operating against Blackman. Davis with the shot clock running down. Smith ahead of the field. The game is tied at 18. And Pat Riley now getting set to go to his bench for John Starks. And Anthony Mason looking for a lift. Hopper for three. Smith on the rebound.
Ewing obviously unhappy he didn't get that pass from Charles Smith.
Anthony. Hard driving move by Greg Anthony, and the Knicks now lead 20-18.
Sometimes Patrick Ewing's expressions tell a story. He had the position on Hodge, and Smith passed him up.
And that is a 3-second violation. Now Starks and Mason check in. Knicks about to call a timeout. John Starks has been on fire over the last 3 games. He has provided a lift for the Knicks. Coming off a game-high 27 in Denver on Wednesday.
The day after, the game after that, the Dallas Mavs upset the Los Angeles Lakers, and for their 1 of 2 wins in 30 this season. So those were high moments for Derek Hopper. Derek is a very spirited player, always has been.
Yes, getting a little carried away at the time. They were 2-16 when that statement was made. All right, so John Starks and Anthony Mason have come on for the Knicks. Randy White and Mike Isolino now on the floor for Dallas. So Gar Hurd making some moves. That was last touched by the Mavericks. 2:50 to go in this first quarter. The Knicks 20 and the Mavericks 18.
John Starks has an excellent defender on him right now in Derek Hopper.
Down to 8 on the shot clock. Starks and Mason gets it back out. Here's Ewing. Nice move by Ewing for his first field goal. The Knicks lead by 4. Mike Isolino had a solid rookie year out of St. Francis of Pennsylvania, usually in the starting lineup, but as we mentioned earlier, Garfield Hurd has been doing some shuffling, and he started Walter Bond. That's illegal defense call number 2 against the Knicks, so Dallas will be awarded the technical foul.
Isolino has started 19 of their 31 games now. This is a guy who carved his way into the NBA and has made it with an incredible work ethic.
Well, apparently that is the first illegal defense. They negated that earlier one when the shot went in. Looks like Pat Riley did win that early argument. Holding foul on Starks. And with the Knicks over the limit, Hopper to the line.
Plus the penalty, 2 shots.
Often it has been rumored this season that this man would be traded to try and bring some younger legs to Dallas. It hasn't happened, obviously. The feeling, however, exists that it would happen if the right offer came along. Derek Hopper is a kind of player that any coach in the NBA would love to have. He's so committed to defense. He plays with unbelievable heart night in and night out.
The Knicks lead by 2. And we're just under 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Here's Starks. And Hodge able to save it. Hopper had it knocked away, and Starks fouled by Hodge.
I think he was fouled twice. He was fouled once, which threw the whistle, and he gave John a shove after that.
New York shoots the penalty for the rest of the
Dallas now over the foul limit. John Starks will go to the line. And there is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, Donald Carter, who was on his feet as part of the standing ovation for Rolando Blackman during the pregame introduction.
Spoke to him before, Marv, about their Jimmy Jackson dilemma, their inability to sign him. And, boy, he had nothing bad to say about Jackson. He just felt it was a commitment he's made to his agent, and that's what's determining the actions thus far with their inability to reach a deal.
Dexter Cambridge, who just checked in, not able to hit. Cambridge, a rookie from Texas. And a loose ball foul.
John Starks with his arms around the two guys he fell into. Fouls.
Foul on Ewing. Minute and a half left in this first quarter. The Knicks by 4, and another one-time Maverick, Herb Williams, getting set to come on. Herb played 3.5 years with Dallas after his tenure with the Indiana Pacers. Donald Hodge, a 65% free throw shooter.
Number 32, Herb Williams in the game.
So Herb Williams replacing Patrick Ewing, at least, with a field goal for 2. Did not see the ball much in this first quarter.
Well, like most teams, the Mavs were packing it in and making Patrick the focal point of the defense, and the standard theory would be for the opposition of the Knicks, let them beat us from the outside. That's what Patrick Ewing will face until the Knicks start getting better perimeter shooting.
Anthony setting up Smith, who was turned back by Hodge, and a foul is called. It's on Hodge.
Herb Williams is first.
Well, correction on Herb Williams. Williams picks up the foul. That will send Hodge to the line.
Donald Hodge, in his first year last season for the Mavs, was quite impressive. And against the Knicks, you can see he did rather well as well in those 2 defeats for the Mavs. The problem is, I think he got flushed with glory and did not work hard in the summertime, and has not convinced the Mavs that he is going to work himself into a real important role for this team. There's a lot of question about Donald's commitment, his own commitment to development, and that's too bad, because the Mavs have rewarded him with a 3-year deal after his fine showing last year. He just hasn't picked up where he left off.
Yes, Hodge has started the last 27 games last season, that after not playing at all first part of the year. So it's a 26-23 lead as Herb Williams hits on his first field goal attempt. 50 seconds remaining in the quarter. Nice block by Smith. And Anthony hit from behind.
Foul by Randy White.
Randy White called for the foul. Randy White in his 4th season out of Louisiana Tech. Another Maverick disappointment. Remember, he was a first-round draft pick, the number 8 pick in the draft overall back in 1989. And, John, you look at his shooting over the first 3 years, 38% from the field. He's actually improved that this year to 43, but he just has not done it.
You know how people keep scrapbooks and review their careers as time goes on? I don't think Randy's going to want to look back to the year he was drafted here, and there were so many comparisons made to Karl Malone. He was the next Karl Malone coming out of the same school. Fact of the matter is he was a center in college, and he got to the NBA, and he had to be a small forward, which is a vast change. Small forwards are shooters, usually good shooters from the outside as well. That does not describe his game at all.
Dallas with 10 on the 24. Hodge. And Williams unloads to Anthony. 2-on-1. Starks goes glass. And the Knicks now lead 29-23. Dallas will hold for a final shot. That's time remaining in the first quarter. Mike Isolino setting it up against Greg Anthony. Oh, Randy White not able to hit at the buzzer. That's the end of one here in Dallas. The Knicks 29, the Mavericks 23. And it sent it into a second overtime. Celtics went on to win in triple overtime. John, you know, 3 players on that Phoenix Suns ball club are now NBA coaches. That's one, of course, Garfield Hurd. Paul Westphal, now the coach of the Suns. And the third on that squad to go on to NBA coaching fame.
Let me think, Marv. The current Knicks coach.
Absolutely right, Pat Riley.
I was looking at that shot, picked Pat out. I think that was before Giorgio Armani. And
yes, it was. Definitely. Let's. Here it is, by golly. There is Pat right at the center of your screen in his previous life.
You said it. Can't be the same guy.
Let's have Pat come over here and check out that photo. Second quarter is underway. The Knicks by 6, and the foul is called on Dexter Cambridge, free agent rookie from Texas, native of the Bahamas, did not play organized basketball until the 11th grade. Like yourself, John, he was more into volleyball during his grade school days. This is only his 5th NBA game.
Dexter Cambridge, Marv, truly is the only guy I know who on his first date took his date shark hunting. That's his thing, shark hunting, believe it or not.
Are you making this up?
No, it's the fact.
Really?
Kevin Sullivan, who handles the PR department for the Mavs,
shark hunting.
Told me that on his first date, it was to hunt sharks.
Is there something symbolic there that we should know about?
Well, it's loaded with all kinds of meaning, I guess.
Loose ball foul has been called.
It starts with Dexter Cambridge is fearless. I guess we could start that way.
And Dexter just committed the foul once again.
And he also doesn't care too much about developing relationships.
Well, Cambridge sits down next to his new best friend, Radoslav Churchic. Sean Rooks has returned. Mason gets it back out to Starks. 3-point attempt. And Mike Isolino starts back. He now plays the backcourt with Tracy Moore, who just checked in. That's Moore with it. Got it by Starks. Here's White. And Smith out of the pack.
Boy, did he work for that rebound.
Starks, oh, what an exchange by the Knicks on that fast break, and they now lead by 10.
Beautifully done, led by Charles Smith.
Down the lane, Randy.
Moore for Rooks. And Sean Rooks lays it home. Knicks lead 33-25. Knicks have picked up the pace here in the second quarter. That's an offensive foul on Charles Smith, called for his second.
Charles is so anxious now to score and take the game over in a sense. But he just ignored the defender, Smith, who was standing right in front of him.
Doc Rivers coming on for the first time, replacing Greg Anthony. Anthony with 6 points, 6 assists. Here's White offering the air ball. John Starks has to be the hero of so many of the former CBA players on this Dallas roster. It is so unusual for a player to do as well as Starks has coming out not only of going to 4 different colleges and several CBA teams. Herb Williams extends to a 35-25 lead. And a timeout will be called by the Mavericks. 22nd timeout taken.
Yes, John has done a big job and is the hero, I would think, of many CBA players who continue to come into the NBA and be more of a factor. The CBA has served the NBA's needs and many teams' needs so well, and John has to be a hero, as you say.
Well, tomorrow night, the Knicks will take on the Rockets in Houston. Knicks game night starting 8 o'clock New York time. Game time at 8:30. The finale of the 4-game road trip. Knicks have lost the last 3 at the Summit in Houston. And then it is back home Monday, a 1 o'clock game against the Phoenix Suns on Martin Luther King Day. Knicks and the Charles Barkley-led Phoenix Suns in a 1 o'clock game on Monday.
Meanwhile, Houston, who everybody was comparing, I'm sure, in Texas to Dallas because of their problems this year, 7-game losing streak lately, has now won their last 3. They beat Charlotte last night.
And a foul is called. So the Mavericks to the line.
Doc Rivers on me.
Foul by Doc Rivers.
Good microphone down there. Caught Doc.
Correction, John, I mentioned that NBA final triple overtime game between Phoenix and Boston. It was game 5, not game 6, 1976. Mike Isolino on the line as Derek Harper, checking with Fred Kerber of the New York Post, then decides to check into the ball game. Fred gave him the go-ahead. Fred, very busy at work, has no idea where he is at this moment. And the foul call.
Foul by Randy White.
It's on Randy White, who did not like the call.
13 foul.
White depart. Doug Smith checks back in. Two and a half gone by in the second quarter. Terry Davis with the rebound. Isolino and Harper now in the backcourt. Rooks up front along with Davis and Smith. Isolino guarded by Rivers. And Harper's pass carried out of bounds, but it was deflected out by Rivers. Dallas with 3 on the 24.
Dallas is trying to push the ball inside. With the exception of Harper, there isn't a good outside shooter on this team.
Here's Smith. Oh. Not only have the Mavericks shots been missing, but they have been way off. They are now 6 for 22 from the field. Knicks are not exactly burning it up, but 43%. Smith saving that pass, and Harper had to do the same. Foul called. It counts. John Starks called for the hack as Derek Harper hits the jump shot, and he will go to the line.
Well, Derek Harper is the man for this team. He has to wear too many hats. He tries to lead the team, set plays up, but he also will shoot the ball whenever he can, and he is an excellent shooter. Guy who has already been perfect from the line tonight here in the first half, already 7 times now. He made quite a lot of noise over the last several years. Every year he would score more than he did before. He had a 6-year streak going at one point and finally leveled off at 20 a game. Actually an 8-year streak, which is unbelievable. Each year more and more scoring came out of Derek.
And here's the former Maverick, Rolando Blackman, replacing John Starks. 6 points for Starks. The Knicks 35, the Mavericks 29 with 8:20 to go in this first half. Derek Harper is the high man of the game with 14. No Nick has hit double figures. Blackman. Mavericks on the run. Smith try to return it. And a foul is called against the Knicks. Hugh Hollins with the call.
Doc Rivers isn't buying the foul calls tonight.
Foul by Charles Smith.
But he walks away from the official Hugh Hollins, so he doesn't draw a technical foul.
Foul that was called on Charles Smith. For Charles, his third, and he will sit down. Leaves with 8 points. Charles Oakley checking back in. I can recall coming here to Dallas watching the Mavericks in their early days, and then when they had a contending ball club where this arena was really a fun, enthusiastic place. You can understand it when a club has won only 2 of 30 games, but it is dead here, John.
It is cowboy country these days, certainly this week.
You spent any time at the Dallas Cowboy rally last night? 65,000 at Texas Stadium.
Unbelievable. Televised. It was a primetime show last night.
Sean Rooks working his way in and shot off the mark. Last touched by the Knicks. Now Patrick Ewing, who sat out the first 5 minutes of the second quarter, will come on for Herb Williams. Herb leads with 2 field goals, 2 for 2 from the field, and 2 out of 2 from the line for 6 points. Hoffer finding an open Smith.
He escaped from Anthony Mason, who turned his back to him.
The Knicks lead is 4. Rivers sets up against Harper. Rivers and Blackman at the guards. Oakley, Ewing, Mason up front. Mason from Ewing. Nice pass from Patrick Ewing.
Yes, Patrick made a couple of decisions when he was in the air, and it was the right one.
The Knicks 37. The Mavericks 31 as Dallas takes a timeout. 6:50 to go in the first half. Blackman off the fake was fouled. No, 3-second violation call. Mason in the lane.
Talking to Norm Sanju before the game and Adebayo earlier today, the subject of Orlando Blackman comes up. Each gentleman would say, there's Norm Sanju, the general manager of this team, was, God, I hope the Knicks are picking for Orlando. He's such a great shooter. If they'd pick for him, he'd just be tremendous. They have such affection for Blackman after all his great years here, and that's the first thing they said.
Well, Doug Smith straightening out his shot and able to hit. No, Orlando does not see that many screens in this offense. Here's Oakley. Hopper feeding it ahead. And the foul called on the Knicks. It is on Rivers.
Is second.
So for Doc, his second. You look at this Dallas franchise, this an expansion franchise that enjoyed much success early. They came on very fast. They originated in 1980, and they won 55 games in the 86-87 season. They won 53 and reached Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals the following season. And there was much excitement here in Dallas.
Days of Dick Motta.
But it has gone the other way the last couple of years. 13 straight losses, record of 2-28. Terry Davis fouled by Rolando Blackman. And as Davis goes to the line, we'll step out. Let's go to the MSG Sports Desk. Here's Mike Crispino.
Thank you, Marv. At the Meadowlands, the Nets are hosting the Sixers and playing from behind. Kenny Anderson blows by Hornacek, laid it up and in. The Nets have cut the lead to 3 now in the fourth.
All right, Mike, 5:24 remaining in this first half. Well, Davis hits 1 out of 2. The Knicks now lead 37-34.
Terry Davis, the only member of the Mavs this year to go over 30 points in a single game. He had 35 against Atlanta in November.
Blackman going at Rooks and actually got stopped by his own man. Charles Oakley ran right into him, but then able to convert on the follow.
Charles was not on Rolando's wavelength on that. He just ran right in his way.
Well, Rolando wanted a pick, and he got it. Blackman has 6 points. Mason leads the break. Mason all the way, and he was fouled. Anthony Mason will go to the line.
Foul by Doug Smith.
Foul by Doug Smith. Saw a shot of the Mavericks general manager Norm Sanju. Well, before the game, he and Rolando Blackman embracing and talking about old times. Rolando's such a popular player here over the years in Dallas.
Anthony Mason, 2 shots.
See what a physical guy Sanju is, you know. Well, I interviewed him before the game, Marv. He saved some of those fouls for some of his other meetings of the evening. A very engaging man, Norm Sanju.
It's the Knicks 40 and the Mavericks 34. Derek Harper setting up against Doc Rivers. This is Walter Bond. Off the spin. Harper. Rebound Hodge. Dallas with the new 24. Hodge off a double pump, rejected by Ewing.
Patrick certainly didn't have to work very hard for that block.
And Blackman foul. Well, Ewing just stood back, waited for the 2 fakes, and then came up with the block.
You know, Marv, there's an example what happens if Ewing doesn't leave his feet when he's guarding his man. What can happen? Many times, as we'll take another look at that now, the fakes, and then he finally, well, he does leave his feet a little bit, but a lot of times he would allow himself to get faked out, and on that one he hung with it and got rewarded for his patience.
Greg Anthony is checked back in. Anthony replacing Rivers. Brian Howard, second-year player from North Carolina State, who's been a starter for a good portion of the season, has come on for Dallas for the first time. The Knicks lead is 8 as we come up on 4 minutes remaining in the first half. This is Howard with it. Now Davis posting. And Blackman feeds it ahead. Oakley for Ewing. And the Knicks lead by 10 with 7 unanswered points. Biggest lead of the game for the Knicks. Hodge had the baseline closed. Davis stripped by Anthony.
Fine play by Anthony coming inside to help out on that lead pass.
Foul by Brian Howard.
Howard called for the foul. And timeout is being taken by the Mavericks with 3:35 remaining in the first half.
After weeknight Nick and Ranger home games, catch Sports Talk, sports news, and much more live from the play-by-play with
It down. Starks, yes. So John Starks trying the 3 from the right-hand side of the court. Not able to hit, but hits the angle jumper from the left.
And there have not been many of those angle jumpers being hit by the Knicks tonight. Mostly everything's been coming inside.
John Starks has 10 points. Foul is called on Charles Oakley, his second. Terry Davis to the free throw line, only a 59% foul shooter. Davis is 1 of 3 from the line. Minute 16 remaining in this first half. The Knicks maintain the 10-point lead. Pick and roll, Ewing. Oh, crowd wants to travel.
Well, it sure looked nice to Pat Riley. Good recognition by John Starks getting that ball to Ewing.
Knicks with their biggest lead. It is a 12-point margin. Shot clock at 6. Hopper. Three-pointer for Derek Hopper, who has 19. Anthony setting up Mason. Starks passing on the 3. Starks open.
Fine movement of the basketball. That was nice.
Knicks 54, Mavericks 43. 25 seconds remaining in the half. And Hopper working the clock down. Goes behind the back. 3 on the 24. Anthony played him well. Rooks with the rebound. Here's Davis. 2 seconds remaining in the half. The Knicks lead by 9. And here's Anthony. Halftime at the Reunion Arena in Dallas. The Knicks lead the Mavericks 54-45. Coming up in a moment, Mike Crispino at the MSG Sports Desk. And free throws. Knicks 57. The Mavericks 52. Blackman. Yes. Rolando. And that's a three-pointer. He has 14. The Knicks lead by 8.
Well, that's one play where Rolando didn't need a pick. He went long range.
Rolando's 13th three-point shot. He's 40% from downtown. Bond. Blackman was sent flying off a pick.
Well, Bond, who usually drives the ball to the basket, surprised everybody. That looked like a very comfortable move for him.
8 points for Walter Bond. Ewing. Well, both clubs hitting their shots. Ewing now 5 out of 6. And Hopper got bottled up. Last touch by the Knicks. Knicks 62, Mavericks 54. Off the steal. Anthony puts the speed. Oh, he's walloped by Hopper.
And then pushed. And Anthony finishes with a 2-arm push. Another look at the play again. Hopper rocking Greg Anthony. Hopper gets the flagrant foul. Anthony the technical foul for what he did. Knicks with the ball now.
And Charles Smith called for the charge. That's 4 on Smith. This crowd now into it off the physical play. Anthony Mason will come on for Charles Smith.
Charles Smith committing himself to the drive. And Walter Bond positioned himself to draw the foul.
It was Walter Bond who was very quick to step in as Hopper and Anthony got into it off the flagrant call. They double up on Hopper. Finds Rooks. And a foul on Mason. For Anthony Mason, his second. Sean Rooks to the free throw line. There's Rooks, rookie from Arizona, second-round draft pick. New York City product. Born in New York, then moved to California. Only a 54% free throw shooter.
Story on Rooks coming out was that he could not rebound well in the NBA, and he has set his mind to dispelling that, and also saying that he should have been a first rounder, not a second rounder.
Oh, another hard foul. This time given by Rooks.
Foul by Sean Rooks, his second. 14.
And Blackman will go to the line. .420 gone by in the third quarter.
Crowd very aware of Blackman and Harper, two reverential figures here. When he was involved, Harper was involved with Greg Anthony. The crowd came to life because the Knicks chose to play with one of their people who they think very highly of here, justifiably. The same with Blackman, too, although that foul that was just committed did not compare to the prior one by Harper.
Blackman has 16. He's the high man for the Knicks. Harper. And apparently someone on the Knicks bench had something to say, because you could see Derek looking in that direction. And you know, Pat Riley does not want to see his ball club get involved with that kind of stuff again. Offensive foul. Oakley flashing the elbow, and he picks up his fourth. 4 apiece now on Charles Oakley and Charles Smith. The Knicks lead 65-58. They led by as many as 12 in the first half. They have led most of the way. Harper for 3. Oh!
Is he speaking to Greg Anthony or what?
25 for Harper. 4-point lead for the Knicks. Mason with the post-up move. Beautifully done by Anthony Mason. His second field goal. And Pat Riley wants a timeout. Dallas making a move. A very spirited ball club, and they now have the crowd going.
Why did Hertz invent #1 club goal service? To beat the rush hour. See, every plane and everybody seems to land at once. But with goal service, there's no stopping at the counters and no paperwork. Instead, you go nonstop to your waiting car with your name in lights. Only Hertz has #1 club goal. The best reason yet why Hertz beats the rush hour. To Hertz, the rest of the day is a piece of cake.
Hey, when I was coming up, I walked 15 miles in the snow every day to practice. There were no locker rooms. The balls had laces, and the shoes were made of canvas.
What's canvas?
And there were no foot lockers. No foot lockers.
No Foot Locker. Whoa, you guys had it rough.
Nobody's got more basketball shoes or more experience selling basketball shoes than Foot Locker, where it all begins.
You guys have commercials, right?
Cold, yeah. No heat.
Your Toyota dealers are proud to announce a beauty of a deal on a beauty of a car. A one-of-a-kind introductory offer on the all-new Toyota Corolla with its Camry-like styling. The deal is $179 a month for 48 months with no down payment. It gets even better. No strip down here. You get air conditioning, power steering, AM/FM radio, even driver's side airbag. But it's a limited time offer, so for the best selection, don't wait. Why settle for less than a Corolla? Your Toyota dealer can give you a beauty of a deal for less than you thought.
Well, a 3-point field goal comes into play. AT&T long-distance shooting numbers. We see Derek Harper, number 7, at 42%. Very high shooting from long range. And Harper, it appeared when he went into this move, almost looked out of balance. But he wasn't. He was right on target.
Harper has hit 3 out of 4 from downtown. Mavericks are within 4. And Anthony moves it across against Harper. 9-3 run by Dallas. Ewing with the drop step. Patrick Ewing has hit 6 out of 7. He has 12 points. The Knicks 69, Dallas 63.
Well, Patrick Ewing has a friend in Blackman who has continued to pour the ball into him when he can.
Rooks putting the move on. Rooks with the rebound.
You see, after the first shot went up, Ewing forgot about Rooks.
The Knicks by 4, just under 6 minutes remaining in the third. Tony Campbell has checked in as Anthony converts. Tony Campbell, who has seen very little action in the month of January, had not played the last 7 games, but Pat Riley, looking for the combination here, has inserted Campbell, and he's matched up with Doug Smith. Traveling violation on Smith.
The way Tony Campbell has, as Pat would say, been out of the rotation, Marv, it would seem that this is a desperation move to get scoring. I mean, the Knicks are struggling with the Mavericks, and they need scoring.
Shooting by both clubs, though, here in the third has been very good. Blackman from long range. So Rolando has certainly enjoyed his return to Dallas. Knicks now lead by 8.
Rolando was also guarded on that play by Harper, his former teammate.
Anthony with the steal. Pretty pass. Campbell was pushed. Pushed by Smith. Tony Campbell will go to the line.
His 15th foul. New York
Harper handling that ball and broken up from behind by Blackman. Nice look off by Greg Anthony to Tony Campbell, who was running the court well.
5 fouls on that man, Doug Smith. Tony Campbell, 20 for 26 from the line this season. Just under 77%.
Smith with his 5th foul. Again, going back to earlier in the game, an out-of-bottle problem. Why doesn't he play Smith more? Well, the problem has been fouls. The guy can't stay on the court very long.
Tony Campbell hitting both free throws. Randy White replacing Doug Smith. Mike Isolino back on the floor, being guarded by Rolando Blackman. This is Davis, played by Mason. Illegal defense against the Knicks, called by Hugh Hollins from the outside. So the Mavericks to the line off the technical.
They got Rolando Blackman for being illegal, meaning he wasn't close enough to his man.
Isolino, a 76% foul shooter. Interesting that Mavericks would go with Isolino rather than Harper, who's shooting just a little bit less than Isolino, but at the line is 10 of 12.
He missed the last technical, though. Maybe that was his test.
Good point. Well, first of the year.
Thank you.
Davis rolling inside. Got concerned that he was in there too long. Anthony with the move, setting up Ewing, and he's fouled.
That penetration is what the Knicks have been longing for by Greg Anthony. That move inside, drawing the attention of people, and then Greg setting up his teammate. We'll see another gander at it, Marv. Nice hesitation move by Greg, drawing the attention of the big people. And Ewing draws the foul.
Terry Davis called for the foul. 13 for Ewing, making his first appearance at the line. That's Donald Hodge returning, replacing Sean Rooks. 4.5 remaining in this third quarter. The Knicks lead 77-66. Derek Harper has gone most of the way, now combining in the backcourt with Mike Isolino.
Good box shot by the Knicks front line.
White with the steal, but the ball will go back to New York. Crowd of 14,445. That's the largest crowd of the season. About 2,500 under capacity. 14,445 here at the Reunion Arena in Dallas. Blackman. And a travel called on Davis. Little mix-up between Davis and Isolino. And Davis frozen. Did not like the call. Garfield Hurd questioning it. Garfield Hurd, the interim coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Pat Patrick Ewing again. He's 7 of 8, 16 points. Different type of game for Patrick Ewing, not forcing the issue, perhaps coming off the 9 of 28 the other night in Denver. And Ewing has played very well here tonight.
Yes, he has. He has shown a lot of discipline. Tony Campbell had a nice defensive reach around. That'll earn him points. That's a deflection. Assistant coaches sit on the bench and count deflections.
6 on the 24. Foul on Mason. It's called a hold.
Anthony Mason is third with 15 fouls.
And it puts the Knicks over the foul limit.
That's how Anthony Mason gets technical fouls. He's not a very demonstrative guy, but after the whistle, you just saw a look at him gabbing in the direction of the official.
Plus the penalty, 2 shots.
Davis now 2 out of 5 from the line.
Tracy Moore back there.
And Tracy Moore checks back in, replacing Derek Harper. Here's it from the crowd. Outstanding game for Derek. 25 points.
I just got another look-alike, Marv. I'm sorry, it overcame me. Tracy Moore.
You know, there hasn't been one that has been even close, John, but go ahead. Traveling violation is called. Tracy Moore. Let's see if we get a close-up of
number 20.
Tracy. Don't want to put the pressure on the electronic.
We'll let this build here.
Howard Singer and our director, Bob Lewis. Mavericks call for time. There's Tracy. All right, go ahead. Who's the lookalike?
Sedale 3.
I don't think so, John.
What else would you say?
No, I don't think so.
How about now? How about now?
No.
Oh, big.
Magical memory. Do you remember?
Here's Starks. A gorgeous reverse move by John Starks.
Moves it, intercepted, going to shoot, he oh, big hit on volley. Amonte to the net, and it's poked away. Amonte scores. Burkhardt moves it all alone. He scores. Great shoot, block saved by Richter. Messier with the intercept and the quick shot. He scores.
The Rangers head for the North Country to take on the Montreal Canadiens Saturday at 8 here on MSG Network.
You sometimes see television people talking about having fun in sports, that sports isn't such serious stuff and that they like to have fun with what they do. Well, I guess we have fun with what we do too, but tell a Met fan or a Yankee fan that sports isn't serious when his or her team is not playing well. It is serious, and they get mad. And I get mad too sometimes when these teams don't play well, and I simply say that. I'm a mirror of what the teams do. I like to think that, and I think that maybe the fans out there appreciate that.
86 years of excellence continues. The Melrose Games, presented by exciting stars are expected to compete, including Dan O'Brien, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and Eamon Coghlan in the most prestigious track and field meet in the world. Friday, February 5th at Madison Square Garden. Experience the excitement of the Melrose Games. Tickets on sale now at the Garden box office and through Ticketmaster. To charge, call 212-307-7171.
Back in Dallas, Mike Isolino on the drive had it knocked away. Mavericks have 13 on the 24. Knicks a moment ago had a 10-1 run. They now lead by 11 points, just under 3 minutes remaining third quarter. Davis and Ewing with the rebound. Blackman and Anthony in the backcourt. Ewing, Mason, and Campbell up front. Tony Campbell getting some playing time and not played the previous 7 games. Anthony with the move on Isolino. Ewing missed the tip, rebounded by White. Isolino's pass was batted away. Hodge on the recovery, and he has it deflected. Dallas ball with 5 on the 24. John Starks back, replacing Rolando Blackman, who is the high man for the Knicks with 18. Dexter Cambridge back for the Mavericks. Cambridge with it, feeding Moore through the foul. Starks called on the foul. So Tracy Moore will go to the line, and we go to Mike Crispino back in New York.
Bob, the Nets are taking this Atlantic Division race seriously. Tonight, in overtime, they beat the Sixers. The steal by Petrovic, the great alley-oop, and the bank from Sam Bowie in a 110-105 victory.
All right, Mike Tracy Moore hitting on his first. Tracy Moore in his second season out of Tulsa, 4-year veteran of the CBA, also played in the World Basketball League. He was leading the CBA in scoring last year when Dallas signed him last January.
He's destined to be a fourth guard if he lasts in the NBA. Fourth guard on this team or any team he might be with, because he only really shoots the ball. That's his main thing, shooting the ball. He hasn't proven himself as a defender yet.
Randy White called on the foul. Tony Campbell will go to the line. So with that net victory, the Knicks now only one game in front of the Nets, who are in the midst of a terrific run.
Tony Campbell, 1+ penalty.
That's making it 3 straight wins, a record of 20 and 15.
Doc Rivers back.
There's Doc Rivers, who has not seen much action tonight.
Only played 6 minutes of the first half, and had his time also dwindle the other night in Denver. Only played 14 minutes after the excellent game he had in Sacramento.
Foul by Dexter Cambridge.
Cambridge on the foul. So Campbell, after hitting his first 2 free throws, misses a couple, but Anthony Mason to the free throw line.
Anthony Mason, 2 shots.
There's no way the Knicks have hit a comfort zone yet as the third quarter dwindles down. They have a 10-point lead at the moment, but they've been unable to really leave the Mavs behind on the scoreboard. It's just hovered around 10 at best.
And it stays at 10. Knicks lead 80-70. 1:45 remaining, third quarter. There's Moore. Lost it. Mason behind the back to Campbell. And it was knocked out of bounds by the Knicks. Mike Isolino fires for the 3. And Randy White with the rebound. White, Hodge, and Cambridge up front. Starks trying to steal was called for that foul.
Foul by Tony Campbell.
Now check that. Campbell called for the foul. So Randy White,
penalty, 2 shots.
shooting a pair. He is only a 66% free throw shooter. Dallas as a team shooting 68% at the line. The Knicks 80, the Mavericks 71. Starks. And the foul called on Ewing for reaching in for that rebound. That's 4 on Ewing. And again, the Mavericks to the line.
Ewing and his coach, Pat Riley, not very happy as Patrick reached in and had very incidental contact with Hodge. Pat Riley demonstrating he's just reaching for the ball. We'll take another look at it as Starks goes up for the jumper. I think what the official saw was the little push of Hodge before Ewing went for that ball.
Herb Williams back in the game.
Herb Williams will replace Patrick Ewing. 16 points and 9 rebounds for Patrick, who departs after picking up his 4th. Herb Williams played 7 minutes in the first half with 2 out of 2, 6 points in all. So the Mavericks now down by 7. They double up on Campbell. 1 minute remaining. Third quarter, Rivers. And Doc Rivers drew the foul.
Foul by Dexter Cambridge.
It's called on Cambridge. That's 4 on the rookie from Texas, Dexter Cambridge.
Doc Rivers is one of those very sensitive players, Marv. I see it quite often, as he just did now. He will make a move, draw the foul, immediately look at Riley. He's looking for approval ratings a lot. And there are a lot of players like that. It doesn't mean good or bad. It's just that he's very sensitive to what the coach wants.
So Doc Rivers with his first points of the evening. Knicks lead 82-73. Oh, good play. And then a foul detected.
Pat Riley is really unhappy and not afraid to show it.
Foul being called on Cambridge. Knicks with a high number of deflections here tonight. 2 on that last sequence. And the end result is a foul on Cambridge, putting Starks at the free throw line.
Well, when you lead the league in defense and holding opponents to the fewest points of any other team, it's not uncommon to have deflections. That means the team is thinking defense. They're challenging, having their hands up all the time, and it's a good sign for a healthy defensive team.
Cambridge picking up his 5th foul, sits down, replaced by Brian Howard, second-year man from North Carolina State. Knicks lead by 11. 40 seconds to go in the third. Isolino. Well, he found the path, was able to penetrate. Mike Isolino out of St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Knicks holding for a final shot. Down to 10 seconds in the quarter. Here's Williams. Howard rebounds. Final seconds of the third. Isolino. Oh, what a delivery, but too late. Good idea, but not able to beat the buzzer. After 3, Knicks lead by 9. Rolando Blackman leading the Knicks in scoring tonight with 18 against his former mates. Fourth quarter is underway, and the Knicks lead the Mavericks 84-75. Rivers and Starks open up in the backcourt. Mason, Campbell, Williams up front, and the foul is called. Officials telling players to play the whistle. Pay attention when the whistle sounds. Brian Howard is called for that foul. Knicks led by 6 after 1. At halftime, the Knicks with a 9-point lead. Same for 3 quarters of play. They have led by as many as 13. Marv Albert, John Andres from Dallas, Texas. Rivers. And White with the box out.
Well, the Mavs may not have a lot of talent, but their effort is certainly there, and they have made this game very difficult for the Knicks.
Howard lost it. Rivers thought he was fouled. No call. Mason, yes. Anthony Mason is 3 out of 3. He has 8 points. The Knicks by 11. Offensive foul, the call. A push along the baseline served up by White. Randy White committing his 4th, and he'll be replaced by Terry Davis. Garfield Hurd in his 2nd game as interim coach, but it has been made clear by Dallas Maverick management that he will not get the job for keeps, and the leading candidate appears to be Quinn Buckner. I've heard that name before. John Starks extends to a 13-point lead. Quinn currently working for NBC Television, also has a management firm in Milwaukee. Had always been more interested in a general manager's job. Davis is rejected and a foul is called.
Quinn's one of those guys who'd rather hire and fire
Oh,
than
absolutely.
be hired and maybe fired someday. Very wise man. But it's a compliment to Quinn Buckner that he would jump to the top of a list of a job that millions of guys would want, Marv.
Well, there are two sides to the picture. There are many people around the NBA now who seem to lean towards former players, younger former players, even though they may not have had the coaching experience. And there's a school of thought that that does not necessarily have to work out. Others don't believe in that. But Quinn has had no coaching experience, but he is one of the more respected individuals who have played this game, and they feel that this is a perfect team for him, with the fact that well, you look at this squad, this is not, I'm sure they're hoping, the team that they will see, say, a year from now. Someone asked me what would I advise Quinn Buckner, and my answer is ironclad 5-year contract.
Well, this franchise has money. They offered Jimmy Jackson a lot of money. You know, part of the contract, Marv, that they offered him was $7 million by December 31st passed. $7 million to beat the new tax laws so that he would be very well off in that regard. Can you imagine that, a $7 million payment to a guy who's never played an NBA game? One check.
Well, Starks called for the offensive foul. Well, when you deal with those numbers, of course, they are extraordinary, but he is measuring himself up against the other selections, and I think, I don't know how much you've seen of him, I think he's a surefire.
Oh, that, everybody,
I mean, there's
everybody feels that.
No question about this guy, and the unfortunate part of it from Dallas's point of view is that it appears that they're not going to be able to sign him.
Dallas is on record of offering him a 4-year deal. Rick Sund is in charge of personnel here for this team. They offered him a 4-year deal, and he wanted a 6-year deal. But the 4 years offered was more money than Leitner and Mourning got, who were drafted ahead of him, over their first 4 years of their contract. They have contracts of longer duration than 4, but it included a $7 million check by December 31st.
Mason picked up the foul. Davis to the line. 9.5 remaining. In the fourth quarter, the Knicks lead by 12. Terry Davis continues to struggle at the line. He's 59% for the season at the free throw line, and 5 of 10 tonight. The Knicks 88, the Mavericks 77. Campbell getting inside, and he is fouled.
Tony Campbell, not a great shooter, but Tony Campbell is a scorer, and that's a demonstration of how he can draw a foul and get to the line and put points on the board. The one thing about Tony Campbell, despite the fact that he has not been playing lately, the guy is always up, always positive, and undoubtedly why Pat Riley and Ernie Grunfeld and Dave Checketts decided that he would be a valuable man for this franchise, because he's always up and he stays positive no matter what's going on.
And Tony Campbell has continued to come out early for a pre-warm-up shooting. He's usually the first on the court. And you know, when you're disappointed and not playing, it's easy to put an end to that type of schedule. You get down, you don't feel like coming to the arena, but he has been very consistent in that regard, and as you say, has shown a great attitude. Mason getting inside, so the Knicks pulling away, now lead at 92-77. Dallas taking a timeout with 8 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the game.
That's Clifford Ray to the right. Slowly emerging as dominant here, our Dutch boy in the paint numbers show that the Knicks are up by 11 in the scoring department, but the Mavs are hanging tough even with the Knicks in the rebounding department.
Brooks posting up on Williams. Now looking to do it from straight away. Goes to the turnaround jump. Air ball by Rooks. Mason setting up Campbell. Good ball movement by the Knicks. And Starks converts. So the Knicks now lead 94-77.
Knicks getting their best moments now of the game with their bench on the floor. No starters.
It is a 10-2 spurt by the Knicks. Isolino for Rooks. And a foul call. Foul committed by Starks.
Is forced before the team foul.
Now Brian Howard, Mike Isolino sit down. Doug Smith is back along with Walter Bond. Sean Rooks to the line. He's 5 out of 6 from the line.
Rooks feels that he's an NBA center. He's funny to say only 6'10", but he's doing a good job of proving he can play back to the basket.
Just under 8 minutes remaining in the game. And the Knicks now in command with their biggest lead of the night. Foul called on the Mavericks. It's on Doug Smith. So he is fouled out. Smith leads with 8 points. Doug Smith, second-year player from Missouri, with angry stares in the direction of the officials.
Rich Adebayo is still in the building.
Yes.
Despite the lead of the Knicks. And Rich has made many friends here in Dallas. And he's lobbying for a few more tonight.
Technical foul has been called. Let's see, Garfield Hurd complaining. May have been called on Smith for that reaction to the 6th foul. He continued to have things to say in the direction of Hank Armstrong, who called the tee. Doc Rivers will shoot the tee. The technical was called on Smith. And the Knicks now lead 95-77. Boy, this is tough. Game in, game out, coming out. You know, for the most part, it's going to be a loss. I think the 72-73 Philadelphia 76ers and very few other teams can relate to what the Mavericks are going through and don't want to relate to that.
Well, Rich Adebayo was saying to me every time they go to a city, it would be the same subject, night in and night out. And they would compare this team to the Philadelphia team. It set that record some years back, and it's just a constant flow of dealing with that.
So Jack McCallum, who look out, Tony Campbell goes flying into the Knicks bench, try to save it. Jack McCallum, who does such a good job, John, writing for Sports Illustrated magazine.
Got my vote.
Yes. Showed up for a Dallas Phoenix game, and players on the Suns knew he was not there to do the Sports Illustrated piece on Phoenix. They knew that he was on hand to check out the Dallas Mavericks, and full-blown feature called How Bad Can It Get regarding the Mavericks in this week's edition.
Well, in that game, the Mavs lost by 4, but Charles Barkley afterwards said it's tough to get up for a team like the Mavs. He said that's why we're good, though, but we're not great because we couldn't blow them away.
20-second timeout has been called. Now, you mentioned Clifford Ray. He's to the right of Garfield Hurd. Longtime NBA fans remember Clifford as the defensive specialist, member of that Warrior championship squad back in the 70s.
You know, it's funny you say that, Marv. I think of him as a Chicago Bull setting picks at the foul line.
Well, Clifford has many identities. He would set a very wide pick right here.
Oh, yes. Very friendly, nice guy, and loves his job of special assignment coach for the Mavs.
And Campbell is called for the travel, so the ball goes back to Dallas. We've been talking about that Philadelphia 76er team of 72-73 that went 9-73, worst record in NBA history, and Dallas is on target, in fact, ahead of the pace. That Philadelphia team, coached by Roy Rubin, who had great success at LIU. Terry Davis with the bucket. Knicks now lead 95-79. But in the pros, a different story for Roy, as Philadelphia lost its first 15 games, then topped that with a 20-game losing streak later in the season. Over one stretch, they lost 34 out of 35 games. Rivers, Kevin Lockery took over, and they actually did better. That was Kevin's first coaching job.
Well, I read a quote from Kevin the other day saying, when he was addressed on this subject, Kevin said, "I don't want to talk about it anymore. I've had enough of this." He's sick of discussing that year that burned a very bad memory in everyone's minds who was associated with that.
Brett Carter, the leading scorer on that squad, averaging about 20 points per game. Well, the Knicks now lead 97-79. Derek Hoffer now being played by Doc Rivers. Here's Randy White. Mason on the run. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the game. Starks and Rooks with the rebound. Bond with the angle jump shot. He has 12. The Knicks 97, the Mavericks 81.
Pat Riley now has the luxury of resting his starters for Akeem Olajuwon and friends tomorrow night.
Herb Williams, one-time Maverick, with his third field goal. 8 points for Herb. Rooks, his foul. Nice setup from Hoffer.
Foul by Herb Williams.
Herb Williams called for the foul, and Sean Rooks to the line. Hubert Davis will check in for the first time tonight. And this appears to be an opportunity for Pat Riley to play the rest of the squad. Patrick Ewing with a very solid game. 7 of 9, 16 points, 9 rebounds. And certainly will appreciate the rest.
For the Knicks, number 44, Hubert Davis.
Must be interesting for a guy like Hubert Davis, too, to come into a game like this and look around, see what the other team's all about, knowing that if he was here, he'd be a starter.
And would probably be the second leading scorer on the Mavericks.
At small forward.
Yes. Davis being guarded by Bond. Here's Campbell. The Knicks lead by 16. And a pushing foul called on the Knicks. It is on Davis.
Hubert Davis is first.
Donald Hodge back, replacing Sean Rooks. High point man for Dallas, Derek Hoffer, 25. The Knicks with balanced scoring, 18 apiece for John Starks and Rolando Blackman. Patrick Ewing with 16, and there he is, John. Radosław Krcic, 6'10", 275 pounds, getting set to check in for the first time tonight. This is 13th NBA game. Native of Serbia, signed as a free agent, spent last year in the Italian Professional League, averaged 20 a game.
You know what he reminds me of? When I was at Fordham a few years ago, Patrick Ewing, happy he's not on the floor right now. In my senior year, we were playing the University of Pittsburgh, and at the end of the game, a young fellow came off the bench by the name of Mike Ditka.
Comparing Radosław Krcic to Mike Ditka.
Mike had a similar type physique, not as tall, not as big, but he was all body. And the same look as Churchill.
So we're not putting that in a category of a look-alike. That's just a similarity.
Yeah, you know, he had the crew cut like this fella does, you know, and his arms were very big and imposing, and a lot of roundness there, a lot of muscle. I remember Mike Ditka, and I have that implanted in my mind, the view, and boy, just seeing this guy reminds me so much of Mike Ditka.
This guy looks like he could be Mike Isolino's father.
I bet if Mike Ditka was joining us now, he'd say, you know, I wish I had him in uniform.
Yes. 99-85, the Knicks with the lead. Radoslav Churchic, kind of like the sound, the flow of the name.
Getting used to it, right?
Yes.
The more you say it.
We approach 4 minutes remaining in the game. And a double dribble call. So the Mavericks get it back. There's Isolino checking back in. Derek Hoffer hears it from the crowd. He departs with 28 points. High man of the game, 6 of 12 from the field, including 3 from downtown, 13 of 16 from the line. Churchill, crowd would like him to shoot. He's been guarded by Mason. Here's Bond. Walter Bond has 14, and the Knicks now lead 99-88.
Churchill is described as having very soft hands, despite his bulk and strength that he gives off. Apparently he throws a very nice pass, as he just did.
Isolino, fouled by Rivers. He tried to draw the charge.
Foul by Doc Rivers. His fourth.
Meanwhile, this game is not out of sight. The Knicks have led by as many as 18. Dallas chipping away. Isolino to the line. He hits a couple here. It's a 9-point game.
Well, Derek Hoffer holds the key, I would think, with his long-range shooting, his three-point shooting, and he's on the bench right now.
Isolino has been a solid free throw shooter, just under 80%. This man last season 4th in the NBA from three-point range. Misses both free throws. Rivers getting the pick from Campbell.
All the focus has been inside tonight by the Knicks.
Campbell off a double team, shot clock running down, but able to hit. Tony Campbell with his first field goal. He has 6 points in all. The Knicks lead 101-88. Rivers with the steal, and he's fouled by Isolino.
Foul by Mike Isolino. His first to 15 foul.
The Knicks calling for a timeout with 2:43 left in the game.
To cover teams like these, it takes a team like this. MSG Network. New York Saints lacrosse.
Hey, can they do that?
Slashing.
All right.
Boarding.
Is that legal?
Cross-checking.
No way.
All the action is back. Coors Light and Major Indoor Lacrosse presents the New York Saints versus the Pittsburgh Bulls. Game 1 is 8 o'clock tomorrow night at Nassau Coliseum. Saints tickets start at just $10. Plus, it's poster night, so don't miss out. New York Saints Lacrosse. For more action, you have to join the team. Face mask and gloves not included.
The only name you need to know when buying a truck is Bright Bay GMC Truck, because price sells trucks. And the buck stops at the Bright Bay GMC Truck Stop. Rated #1 in service, satisfaction, and willingness to deal, Bright Bay offers over 100 S15 Jimmys and V-Jimmys, Sonoma pickups and Safari vans, Sierra pickups and conversion vans. Compare the facts. Shop around first, then come to the Bright Bay GMC Truck Stop, ready to buy. Sunrise Highway, Bay Shore.
Ever so slowly, the Knicks have pulled out ahead of the Dallas Mavs to a comfort zone. We'll look at our Toyota matchup of the evening. featuring Patrick Ewing and Sean Rooks, who I bet Patrick Ewing is totally unfamiliar with. Tonight coming in, Patrick edging out ahead in the statistical department, and 7 of 9 from the field is what people will notice in the box score tomorrow. Patrick not taking a lot of shots, but hitting a good percentage and being a very important part of the Knicks' success tonight.
We're down to 2:43 remaining in the game. The Knicks 101. The Mavericks 88. We resume with Doc Rivers at the free throw line.
Getting some advice from Tony Campbell. See if it's good. Good advice.
Rivers and Davis in the backcourt. Williams, Mason, Campbell up front. The Knicks lead by 15. Isolino moves it across. Well, we will see Eric Anderson get a couple of minutes here down the stretch. Eric Anderson, the rookie from Indiana, has not played the last 19 games. Rivers off the steal. Here's Davis on a 2-on-1. Cambridge. Churchill. Oh, a little drop step move, but can't hit. Again, and it's knocked away by Williams.
He certainly got to where he wanted to go, though.
Knocked away by Churchill. Tracy Moore is back for Dallas, and Eric Anderson, who last played on the 1st of December against Portland 19 games ago, has checked in, and looks like he's being guarded by Radisov.
Yes, they're together at last.
Yes. And here it is again. It's Eric Anderson who has drawn the assignment of the 6'10", 275-pound Radisov Churchill. Davis off the stutter step. Anderson. Eric looking for the shot, had it rejected. Tracy Moore. The Knicks 103, Mavericks 90. Minute 10 remaining in the game. It has not been one of the thrillers of the season. Here's Campbell. Well, Tony Campbell has hit his last 2.
Campbell's job is to keep that 15-point spread up there.
John, I have a feeling, though, that Pat Riley and Ernie Grunfeld, who's made the trip, really don't care about the artistry of this game as it goes into the win column. Knicks will go to 21-13. The Nets won earlier tonight, so the Knicks will maintain the game-and-a-half lead over the New Jersey Nets. Campbell to the left hand. 107-90. Knicks on top. 10 points for Tony Campbell. Half-minute remaining. Churchill posting up on Anderson. Goaltending and a foul. There's a potential 3-point play by Churchill.
Nice move as he wiggled his way inside.
Wiggled his way.
He did in his version. And Herb Williams came over and sent that shot away after it was on the way down.
He is 16 for 20 from the foul line in his 12 previous games.
Isn't that amazing? A guy who rarely plays, and I mean, if you had to bet, you'd take a look at him, you'd say, is he a good foul shooter? And you wouldn't think so necessarily, but he is, in fact, a good foul shooter. And you will drift off to sleep tonight, Marv, knowing that.
Yes. 107-93. The Knicks with the lead as we wind down. And that is it. The Knicks defeat the Dallas Mavericks 107-93. The Knicks are now 21-13 while Dallas goes to 2-29, and they have lost 14 in a row. They are 2-15 here in Dallas. Rolando Blackman and John Starks, the high scorers for the Knicks, each with 18. We'll be back to recap in a moment.
There he is, rediscovering the sounds of his youth. He'll tell you his music never sounded so good. He's smiling because his state-of-the-art Iowa Personal Portable has all the features he could ever want. He's also smiling because he paid such a low price for it that nobody beats the Wiz. I'm smiling because with this remote, I can turn his music off whenever I want. Iowa Portable that nobody beats the Wiz, for the kid in all of us.
45, eating 45, paid, eating 46, a pan of $4,700 ball one time, young 47 and a half.
What'll it be, fellas?
Make it a Bud Light.
Sorry. This is the last one.
Well, I think I've been. I'll take that one.
What do you want to give for it? I'm a 2 and a 10. Give me 10, a 20 bid. Give me 20 now, 30. Give me 30 now, 40 bid. Give me 40 now, 50. Give me 50 now, 60 bid. Give me 60 now, 70. Give me 70 now, 80.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Bud Light, please.
Sorry, boys. This is the last one.
Welcome to the second annual Fleer NBA Championship game. Here's the tip-off. Cartwright controls the Chambers. Chambers takes it up top to Anderson. He spins behind the back to Karl Malone. The mailman delivers from three-point land. The bench goes wild. 6 seconds left. Johnson inbounds to Ron Harper at midcourt. Alley-oop to Green. A great pass to Willis with a hammer dunk. And that's the game. Now here's the wrap-up. Fleer, a game in every pack.
This is the end of how you think about dandruff.
Back in Dallas, the New York Knicks have defeated the Dallas Mavericks 107-93. A reminder, Sports Desk with Mike Crispino will be seen at the conclusion of our telecast. So the New York Knicks win this first meeting of the season against the Dallas Mavericks, and the one-time Maverick Rolando Blackman, who played here 11 years, Dallas's all-time leading scorer, had a good one. 18 points for Blackman, and he is our NatWest Bank player of the game. And when we come back to Reunion Arena, John will be talking with Rolando Blackman.
What did I tell you, Principal Skinner?
Mrs. Skrabumple, it's time we cut off Simpson's Butterfinger supply.
It's showtime.
Get a crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery burst in every bite of Butterfinger.
Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
The Knicks over the Mavericks 107-93. So with the victory, the Knicks stay a game and a half in front of New Jersey. MSG Sports Desk coming up following our telecast. And Mike Crispino with a half-hour edition. We'll check out the NBA highlights. Mario Lemieux with a press conference earlier today. We'll have highlights of that. And the NFL playoff preview. That is all ahead on the MSG Sports Desk. Rolando Blackman making his return to the Reunion Arena here in Dallas, and he and John Starks sharing game-high honors with 18 apiece. Rolando is with John.
Thank you, Marv. For your information, Marv, tonight was a 50-ticket night for Rolando. Heavy demand here. You have that many friends here, Rolando, huh?
Well, quite a few. You know, after 11 years of playing here and being all around the city, it's and it was 50 tickets of not acquaintances. These are people that I really, really know. So it was a big night.
People you cared about. Well, you also cared about a good effort tonight because you got into the groove early. Are the baskets a little bigger here for you? Do you think there's an advantage to playing in an arena where you have played before?
Well, I think the big advantage right now for me is that I'm still trying to mentally find myself on this basketball team and make sure that I become a consistent factor with that. So that also helped me to get over this nostalgia thing and making sure that I'm here playing good basketball. But it's a good feeling to be back in Reunion.
Everybody we talked to before the game and asking about how you were doing was saying, boy, I hope they're setting picks for Rolando. He can be so tough if he gets picks. Well, you got a few tonight, and you also had a few that didn't require picks. You looked like you felt good out there.
That's very true. I felt comfortable out there, and I wanted to be as aggressive as I possibly could, and also just to try to start taking the basketball to the basket when I only have one man on me. And you know, when I have one guy on me, I feel that I can beat them, so I should just go ahead and go with it. So I just need to be a little bit more aggressive.
Rolando, what do you feel the team has to continue doing now on the offensive end of the court in order to be effective and play at a higher level?
Well, just our level of consistency and how we execute our plays. We know what the plays are coming up and making sure everybody's setting the right screens, getting the basketball to the people who are supposed to get it, and making sure that everyone throughout the play is doing things consistently. And I think consistency will take us to where we need to go.
Well, so far now, 2 out of 3 with Houston lying ahead tomorrow night. First team was well rested, so hopefully for Rolando Blackman and the Knicks tomorrow will be another repeat of tonight. Thank you for visiting with us, Rolando, and congratulations on a hometown return, which turned out quite nice for you.
Turned out very well. Thank you, John.
Okay, Rolando Blackman. Now let's go back to Marv Albert.
All right, John, and tomorrow night.